Right, this is the 2022 paper 1 foundation paper. So change 40 centimetres to millimetres. 1 centimetre is 10 millimetres. So therefore, if I've got 40 centimetres, I multiply that by 40. So I've got 400 millimetres. Question 2. E plus E plus E plus E. So I've got 4 E's. My answer is 4E. Question 3 is a nice reflection. So reflect the shaded triangle in the mirror line. So the top of my triangle is 1, 2, 3 away. So I need to go 1, 2, 3 away that side. And then join. Obviously, you would use a ruler to make the reflection. The value of the 6 in this number here. So remember, you have units, tens, hundreds, and then the next one is thousands. So it's 6,000. The size of these numbers. So the easiest thing is probably to put them all in decimals. So a half is 0.5. This one's already a decimal. And as a percentage, remember 45% means 45 out of 100. So we need to move decimal point 2 places. Okay, so my smallest one is 0.45. Might help if you put a 0 there. Okay, it's easier to compare. So 0.50 will come before 0.55. So you might want to put them in their original form. So 45%, a half, and then 0.55. Pictogram. So numbers of hours sunshine on a Saturday and Sunday. So 2 hours of sunshine for every sun. So on Saturday, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, because I've got 4 suns. Question 7. Simon buys some candles for £2 each, pays with £20 note and gets £6 change. Okay, so he spent £20 minus his change. He spent £14. So each candle is £2. I want to see how many 2s are in 14, which is 7. So he's bought 7 candles. A bar chart about rainfall. So it's got 4 months and then the total rainfall. And we want to fill in the total rainfall in May and June. We've got 35 centimetres in May. My bar is going up to 35. Again, obviously you would use a ruler and have a much nicer bar than me. And then 20 centimetres for June. So up to 35 and up to 20. So that's our bar chart complete. And then Rupert says, in February there was 15.5 centimetres of rainfall because the bar is half a square above 15. Okay, so if we go to February, they're saying 15.5 because it's half a square. Okay, but if we look at where half a square actually is, it's halfway between 15 and 20. Okay, so actually halfway between 15 and 20, the gap is 5. So half of that is actually 2.5. So if we add our 2.5 extra to the 15, we actually get 17.5. So incorrect, as each square is 5. So February rainfall was 17.5 centimetres. Question 9. We've got a sequence of tiles in this kind of L shape, and we want to draw number 5. So if we look, they're just adding on an extra 1 on the end each time. Okay, so our next one will be 5 across and 5 down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just growing by 1 each time. Okay, so it's going to go 5 along. And then complete the table. So pattern number 5, we count the squares that we've just done. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so because we're adding on an extra square to each leg, kind of, so 1 here and then 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. We're adding on 2 every time, aren't we? So you can see these are going up in 2s, and my next one, without drawing it, would be 11. Number 10. So the lowest temperature was -15, the highest temperature was 42, greater than the lowest temperature. So we want to do -15 degrees and add 42. Okay, and you can think of a number line, or you can add in any order. So it's the same as doing 42, add -15, which is the same as subtracting 15. So 42, take away 15. Can't do 2 take away 5, so I'm going to have to borrow. So 12 take away 5, 7. 3 take away 1 is 2. Okay, so it leaves me 27. Number 11. We've got an electricity meter that reads this in October and November. And each kilowatt costs 16p. So we've got to work out how much is to pay for the electricity she used in November. So the way an electricity meter works, okay, this is your starting point here, and it's going up to here. So to know how much energy she's actually used, we need to subtract those two values. Okay, so we're doing the November one, take away the October one. 8 take away 0, 9 take away 3 is 6, 1 take away 7 I can't do, so I'm going to borrow. And 11 take away 7 is 4. So she's actually only used, I've got zeros, 460 kilowatts. So we're then doing 460 times 16p. So however you like to do long multiplications, you might want to do 400 and then 60, and 16 is 10 and 6. Okay, so I think that makes it quite easy. So multiply these two by 10. 6 times 6 is 36, and then you've got a 0 on the end. 6 times 4 is 24, and you've got 3 zeros on the end. So the grid method does make things super easy. And then we just want to add them all up. Okay, so adding all of those up, we have got 28960. Remember, this was 16p, so this is in pence. So if you wanted it in pounds, ask for it in pounds. It doesn't actually ask for anything. Okay, but if you want it in pounds, it is £289.60. Number 12, adding fractions. Remember, if you're adding fractions, you want to have the same denominator. So I'm going to have to turn the second fraction into twelfths. That gives me 5 twelfths and 2 twelfths is 7 twelfths. When you're multiplying fractions, remember you can cancel any numerator with any denominator. So I'm going to divide these two by 5 to give me 2 and 1 instead of 10 and 5. And then just multiply across the top. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 8 is 16. Question 13. So we've got 15 sweets in a jar and 4 are red. So therefore the probability of being red is 4 out of 15. We've then got green counters and blue counters in a bag. The probability the counter is green is 0.3. So find the probability that is blue. So if it's not green, if it's green or blue, okay, there's only 2 options you can have. So in other words, we're asking for the probability that is not green. So we can do 1, take away 0.3 to get 0.7. Question 14 is substitution. So we're going to substitute 4 in. So 6 times 4, take away 5. 6 times 4 is 24. And then if we subtract those, we get 19. Question 15. Remember, when you're doing an estimate, you are not working this out exactly, okay? So I'm going to say 92 is roughly 90. Okay, 1.63, I'm going to say is roughly 1.5. Okay, doesn't really matter what you round it to, okay? You probably could have got away with rounding that to 2, might be slightly easier. Okay, but this one's quite easy to work out because 90, I can make 9 times 10 times 1.5. 10 times 1.5 is 15. So then I'm just doing 9 times 15. So 9 times 5 is 45. And 9 times 1 is 9. So 135. They will give you quite a big range for that question. Okay, so they could give you anything. So they might say 135 to 180, for example. Okay, as long as you round it to a sensible answer. Okay, so for this one, they're giving you a piece of information. So 2.96 times 3.2 is that answer there. So if we compare our sum, what has happened to 2.96? Okay, they've actually multiplied it by 10, haven't they? Oh, can't write. To get that. Okay. And then what has happened to the 3.2? Again, they've multiplied it by 10, haven't they? So you can see we've got an extra 10 times 10 in our question compared to what they've got. So therefore, we need to multiply 9.472 by another 10 and another 10. So you should have got 947.2. Savio leaves his home at 7:30. He drives 50 miles and he thinks he drives an average speed of 40 miles an hour. Okay, so if we think about speed, distance, time, if we use a triangle, makes the rearranging nice and easy. So if we're looking at time, we're trying to do distance divided by speed. So the distance was 50 miles and the speed is 40 miles per hour. So I can see my answer is going to be in hours. Okay, so 50 over 40, I'm going to think of it like a fraction. I'm going to cancel it down by dividing the top and the bottom by 0. Okay, and then 5 quarters is the same as 1 whole 1 and 1 quarter. And remember, my answer was in hours. Okay, so because we're trying to work out an actual time, I know a quarter of an hour is 15 minutes. So I'm changing that to 1 hour, 15 minutes. So if he leaves at 7:30, an hour later is 8:30. So he's going to arrive at 8:45 a.m. Doesn't say am actually. Just made that bit up. So he arrives at 8:45. Oh no, it says oh, there you go. So if his average speed was greater than 40 miles an hour, so he's going quicker, then he's going to get there quicker. Okay, so in terms of my answer to part A, he will get there sooner. Okay, so he'd get there before 8:45. So we've got 72 people in question 17 doing a test. 20 of the 32 adults who did the test passed. 6 of the children who did the test failed. And we want to use information to complete the frequency tree. Okay, so first of all, we want to divide up our 72 people into children and adults. So we've got 72 people to start with. We know there's 32 adults and 20 of those passed. I'm just putting all the information from the question onto this diagram. 6 of the children who did the test failed. 6 children failed. So we just need to fill in the gaps now. So if there's 32 adults and 72 people together, if I take those away from each other, that means I'm left with 40 children. If I do the same up here, so I had 32 adults, 20 passed. That means that 12 failed to make up to 32. If I've got 40 children and 6 failed, then I need another 34 to make up my 40 children. So find the probability that this person is an adult who failed the test. So if we go to adults who failed, then I'm looking here at these 12 people. So I've got 12 people out of the 72 people. So here I've got a recipe for 10 scones and I want to make 25 scones. Okay, so think about how we get from 10 to 25. So it might be easier to do a recipe. So we're only interested in sugar. I'm going to halve it to get 5 scones. So I would need 20 grams of sugar. Don't need to do all of the different elements because we're only interested in sugar. So then if I want to get 25 scones, I need to do 5 batches of that. I'm doing 5 times my 20 grams, which is 100 grams of sugar. So remember, always divide by 10 to find 10%. So if I do 240 divided by 10, I get 24. I can then double that to get 20%. So double 24 gives me 48. And I've then got to increase that. So I'm adding my 240 and then add my 20% is 48 to give me 288. So 3 rectangles A, B and C. 5/8 of A is shaded. So this section here, pen doesn't want to work, is 5/8. The C is 9/11. We want to work out what fraction of B is shaded. So if we think about what's unshaded, it's probably easier. So we've got 5/8. That means I'm left with 3/8, which is the unshaded section. Okay, for rectangle C, I've got 9/11, which means I've got 2/11, which is left unshaded. So you can see on this diagram, this is 2/11, this is 3/8, and I want what's left. So I'm going to add up my total unshaded. So I'm going to do 2/11, and I'm going to add my 3/8. Remember, for fractions, if you're adding, you want to have a common denominator. Okay, so both of these go into 88. So I'm going to multiply the second fraction by 11 and my first fraction by 8. If I add those together, I've got 49 out of 88. Okay, not a very nice number. So if I want what's left in here, okay, then I need what's left. So I want to do 88 take away 49. So 39. Okay, so I'm left with 39 over 88. Seven leaf diagram. So it's set out for you and it reminds you to get a key. Okay, so I'm going to start with my smallest number are the ones that start with 1. So I've got a 17 and a 19. So 17 and 19. I'm then going to look at all my ones that have got 2. Got quite a few of these. I'll circle these ones. Oh, got loads. Okay. So we've got 2. And then I'm just going to drop down here. So we've got 7, 8, 9, 5, another 7, another 5. Lost my place. And a 6 and a 7. Okay, so we've got in order 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just double checking. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Okay, I've then got the ones that are in the 30s. Rub it out just so I can see it a bit clearer. So I've got 30s, 30s, 30s. Not very many of these. So I've got 33 and then 2 37s. Okay, I've then got the ones that are in the 40s. So I've got 45 and 47. So I should have 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15. Good. So my key is 1/7 is, okay, this is ages, so 17 years. Okay, make sure you put the units as well. Question 22, plans and elevation. So work out the volume of the cylinder. So to work out the volume of a cylinder, we do pi r squared for the top multiplied by the height. Okay, so if I look down on the top, this would be my circle. Okay, and this would be my radius. So I can see it tells you it's a centimetre grid, so this is 3 centimetres. Okay, my front elevation, so this is my front. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can see my height would be 5 centimetres. Okay, and that front elevation is if you're looking directly ahead. That's why that's my height. So I'm doing pi times 3 squared times 5. So 45 pi centimetres cubed. Inequalities, solve it like you would an equation. So move all your x's to one side. So I'm going to add 27. So that gives me 35. I'm then going to divide by 7. Okay, if I divide by 7, I've got x is less than 5. $124 as a product of primes. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to circle that one because it's prime. And that leaves me with 62. I'm then going to divide it by 2 again. And 2 and 31 are prime. That leaves me as 2 squared multiplied by 31. So there's a lot of information in this question. 160 cars and vans. Number of cars to vans is 3 to 7. So I'm going to split my 160. I've got 10 parts to my ratio. So one part of your ratio is 160 divided by 10, which is 16. If I do 16 times 3, I've got 48. If I do 16 times 7, I've got 112. So you've therefore got 48 cars and 112 vans. Out of those cars, we've got 8 using electricity. Okay, so 6 of them use electricity. You then got 25% using diesel. So I'm going to change 25% because I know that's a quarter. It's easier in my head to work it out like that. So a quarter of 48, so divided by 4 gives me 12 using diesel. And then the rest of it use petrol. So I've got 48 cars. I'm taking away 18 that use electricity and diesel. So I'm left with 30 that use petrol. Okay, taking this out of standard form, 10 to the minus 3 means I move my decimal point 3 this way. So I've got 0.00163. put it into standard form. Remember, your first number has to be between 1 and 10, so I'm going to put my decimal point after the 4. And I've moved my decimal point 5 places. So that one is times 10 to the 5. If you're doing any sums with standard form, do your numbers first and then your powers of 10. So 4 times 6 is 24. 10 to the 3 times 10 to the minus 5. Remember, you add the powers together. So that will give you 10 to the minus 2. Pen's just having a bit of a fit. There we go. Okay, and then that's not in standard form because remember this number at the front has to be between 1 and 10. So I need to change it to 2.4. So if I want to change 24, it's going to be 2.4 multiplied by 10. So therefore, if I click those together, 10 to the 1 times 10 to the minus 2 will give me 10 to the minus 1. So we've got here a hexagon. So I'm going to work out the exterior. You can do it with interior angles as well. I just think it's easier because exterior angles are easier to work out. So the hexagon, remember you do 360 divided by how many sides? So 360 divided by 6 gives me 60. If I do the pentagon, 360 divided by 5. I'm not sure about that one. Do a little division at the side. So 7, remainder 1. So that would be 72. Okay, and I can see these are the exterior angles. So X is made up of your two exterior angles put together. So this is the hexagon one. So 60 is that angle there. 72 is that angle there. So for X, I can see that I add 60 and 72 together to get 132. Drawing a graph, doing a table of values. Okay, for subbing -1, so I'm squaring -1, doing 3 times -1 and adding 1. So -1 times -1, remember a negative times a negative gives you a positive, so that'd be +1. Then you've got -3 multiplied by -1 gives you +3 and +1, so that actually gives me 5. I'll do the same for the next one. So that gives me 4 minus 6 plus 1. So that gives me -1. Okay, and then a little bit of a cheat here. So with quadratics, they do reflect. So I can see my numbers are going backwards now. So I've got 5, 1, -1, -1. Okay, and you can double check by substituting in, but that'll be 1 and 5. So then plotting the graph. Okay, remember your graph will always be this U shape, which we've got, so we know we've done the graph right. Okay, and then it wants us to find the solutions of this equation here. So in other words, it's asking us for the root. So this is a graph we've just drawn. So if it equals 0, you're looking for the roots. Okay, so my graph is 0.4 and 2.4. Okay, they will be lenient, so they will give you anything close to that. So you put 0.5, 2.5, for example, that is absolutely fine. It depends how you draw your graph. And you can probably be more accurate than me because you have got a sharp pencil rather than doing it on a computer screen. Okay, cubes. And they're giving you the mass and you want to work out the density. So I need the volume of these cubes. Okay, so remember the volume of a cube is going to be just 3 times 3 times 3. So 27. B is then 4 times 4 times 4, which is 64. The formula for density is mass divided by volume. So for A, density is 81 grams divided by 27. Okay, and the easy thing to do if you're not sure what that is to cancel it down. So I'm going to divide both of them by 3, so 9, and then, no, actually I'm going to divide both of them by 9, it's better. So 3 and then 9, and then 9 divided by 3 is easier to do, it's 3. For B, the density is 128 divided by 64, which goes into it twice. So your ratio is 3 to 2. Okay, last question. Write down the value of sine 30. That's something you just know. Okay, and that is 1/2. Okay, so actually a relatively straightforward foundation paper this year.